In today's show, the Blazers come into the game as favorites on their home floor. A chance to win their second game in a row and prove they aren't one of the truly bad teams, an NBA bottom feeder. They leave with none of that. Yuck. And they lose to the Wizards. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. You're listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts, and also on YouTube. Coming at you every single weekday, Monday through Friday. So make it a part of your daily routine. Make it your first listen. It's Locked On Blazers, your team every day. In today's show, unfortunately, we have to talk about what might be a new low point in the Blazers season. Dang it! The Blazers lose wire to the Wizards in a game that they were favored on their home floor, that Washington tried to give them back in the final 6 minutes of the fourth quarter, and the Blazers wouldn't take it. We'll talk about that game, what went wrong in a wild final minute 45 at the Moda Center, and I'll tell you why they really lost and what's really ailing this team. It's the worst first quarter team in the league. Doesn't that sound like a lot of fun? I promise today's show is about losing and playing poorly. We'll have a lot of fun. Stick with me. Let's do what we do, though, first. Fastest recap in the West. Blazers lose 118-117 to the Washington Wizards. Just the second game this season that they have been favored. Both games that they have been favored on their home floor against bad basketball teams. Hence, the favorite against favored in the game, they have lost. I don't think it's the worst loss of the Blazers season, but the way linear time works, this is certainly a new low point. Because you already had the worst loss of the season when you got handled by the Jazz. Yuck. And it didn't start out great. Down 24-33 after one, but they trailed by as many as 16 points in the first quarter. Chauncey Billups had to call timeout with his team down 17-7. Yet again, can't guard Kyle Kuzma, can't score down double digits at home against the Wizards. Might as well burn a timeout because things aren't going well immediately, and they didn't really get better. Down 54-67 at the break. Kuzma's got 18 in the first half. DeAndre Ayton, really nice first half, 14-6, but 67 points to the Wizards. The Wizards score. It's what they do. They score points, but they don't guard anyone. So you got to guard them a little bit, and then they'll leave the door open for you because they don't guard anyone. Where this ended up. Third quarter didn't get better for the Blazers. Trailed by as many as 18, their largest deficit, and went into the fourth down 80-93, had yet to lead in the game. And they're down 14 with 6 minutes and 38 seconds left. But the Wizards are bad. They're bad. They're a bad basketball team with bad players, and they play poorly. They got all of it. So they're going to let you back in the game. Even a 14-point lead with 6.5 minutes left, you've got a chance. And the Blazers rip off a 20-6 run, capped by an Amre Simon three-pointer to tie the game at 1:14 with a minute 43 left. In 5 minutes, they make up a 14-point deficit and give themselves a chance to win on their home floor. They have played awful in this game. They're just so uninspiring and gross. And now you're down to the last minute and 45 seconds, and it's like, hey, well, how about that? Well, how about that? They might do it. And then this is a totally different podcast. I mean, I would have still said that they played like crap because I like to be honest when they play like crap, but like, it would have been fun, right? They had a lot of chances to make this one fun, but they would not walk through the door no matter how wide the Wizards were willing to swing it open for them. Amre Simon hits a three, ties it to 114. The Wizards quickly respond the other way. They play fast. If they play fast. They do not want to play defense. They want to play quickly on offense. And Kuzma was really good in this game. They get down quickly. He misses a layup, but gets his own miss, puts it back. Wizards immediately regain the lead. The Blazers still have not led. But down two, they get the ball inside, get a little alley-oop lob situation to DeAndre Ayton. He doesn't dunk it. He misses the oop, misses a putback, misses a tip in. 3 shots at the rim. DeAndre Ayton smokes all of them. We smoked it all. Cliff Harris knew it. And so the Blazers could have tied the game with 3 layups from their center. Instead, they don't. And yet, it still ain't over. Kyle Kuzma misses a fading 18-footer, 19-footer. Clock ticking under 40 seconds. Blazers grab the board and they go. Jeremy Grant pushes in transition and draws a blocking foul on Daniel Gafford. 3-point game. Get 2 free throws. Daniel Gafford fouls out. The only player on the Wizards who's even has like some semblance of rim protection. Now the Wizards got nothing to stop you. He's out of the game. JG makes a free throw. We're at 30 seconds, down 1. And yet, Jeremy Grant misses the second free throw. Hits the first one to cut it to 1, misses the second free throw. DeAndre Ayton grabs the rebound. Anthony Simons flies in. Daniel Gafford's out of the game, so Ant's going to have nobody in there to check him at the rim, and he smokes a layup. 3 missed layups from DA, a missed free throw from Jeremy Grant, a smoked layup from Anthony Simons. So they got a foul, and they foul Kyle Kuzma with 15 seconds left. It's a 1-point game. Jeremy Grant makes both free throws, you're tied. Anthony Simons makes a layup, you're up 1. But instead, got a foul. 15 seconds left. Send Kyle Kuzma to the line. Makes the first, misses the second. Wizards get the rebound. Kyle Kuzma gets his own rebound when the ball gets batted in the air. He gets fouled trying to put the ball back in. He'll go to the line for 2 more. Misses the first, makes the second. Kyle Kuzma took 4 free throws in 1 possession. He scored 2 points. The Wizards hold the door open for you. Just walk through it. It's a 3-point game, 15 seconds left. Blazers call timeout, set up a quick isolation on the right-hand side for Anthony Simons. He goes fast, gets himself to the rim for a layup. 1-point game. 1-point game. But you have a timeout. So I don't love going for 2 there, but you have a timeout, so it's okay because you can advance the ball, play defense. Wizards are going to do something stupid. And they do. They try to throw the ball into Jordan Poole, and Kuzma does, and Matisse Thybulle makes a great play. Smacks it out of Jordan Poole's hands. They initially call a foul. Chauncey Billups challenges it, wins the challenge. It's not a foul. It's a clean strip, but the ball, nobody had clear possession, so you have a Jordan Poole, Matisse Thybulle jump ball, and the Blazers win it. Chauncey Billups, with his timeout that he's regained from the challenge that he won, takes a timeout, 5.8 seconds left, down 1. You've done a lot to end up here. Wizards have missed free throws. Wizards have turned the ball over. The Blazers have just they've missed layups. They've missed their own free throws. And yet, here they are, 5.8 seconds left. Get the ball to the dude who has 22 in the quarter. You're going to win the game, or at least you're going to have a good shot to, except they run what looks like a very similar play, a very similar ATO set to the one they ran when Anthony Simons got the layup before, except it doesn't materialize, and Anthony Simons never gets the ball, and Jeremy Grant drives and takes a really hard, moving to his left, fading, falling, swooping jumper over Bilal Coulibaly, and it doesn't come close, and the Wizards win 118-117. That's your fastest recap in the West. What a way to lose. In the final minute 45, the Blazers missed 4 layups and a free throw and then failed to get the ball to Anthony Simons. Let's do the box score and then talk a little bit more about crunch time. Okay. Anthony Simons had 41, 29 in the second half, 41 points, 4 boards and 7 assists, 23 and 16 from DeAndre Ayton. He had a really nice first half, just didn't kind of a normal second half. 14 in the first half, 7 in the second half. It's 9 in the second half. He missed some shots when they needed him. 20 from Jeremy Grant, who did not have a good shooting night from 2, just 2 of 7 inside the arc, but did make 4 threes. As typically happens when you have 3 guys in the 20s, no one else had big nights. 4 from Toumani Camara, 7 from Malcolm Brogdon, who was just bad and didn't exist. Scoot Henderson, 4, an awful Scoot game. Matisse Thybulle scoreless, but he plays. He does things. If if he's a contributor on offense, he's really good, but didn't really contribute in this game. But I think he was still positive. Duop Reith had 10 in his 9 minutes because he's going to shoot it when he gets it. And Jabari Walker had a great game, I think. It doesn't necessarily show it perfectly in the box score, but 8 points, 11 boards, 3 assists in 24 minutes. Like, he was really good. There's not a great way to play Jabari down the stretch because you need Jeremy in there for the offense. He's not quite a three. Because he can't shoot, so you want more shooting, and then you want the versatility of Matisse Thybulle. Like, he's a better defender and a better shooter, and it's like, and I do not like the Jabari at center minutes really for my own personal taste. So like, it's just hard to play him down the stretch with this particular roster, but he was great in this game. He's great. He's really solid. On the other side, 32 from Kuzma to go along with 8 boards and 6 assists, 24 from Tyus Jones. Blazers broadcast loved them some Tyus Jones. Lamar Hurd, big Tyus Jones fan. He enjoyed the stylings of Jones. Daniel Gafford, 16, 8 rebounds, and 4 steals and 6 blocks. Active Daniel Gafford night. 13 from Denny Avdia, 13 from Jordan Poole, 9 from Corey Kispert off the bench, 4 from Danilo Gallinari, 5 from Mike Muscala, and 2 from Bilal Coulibaly. Let's talk about the final few minutes. Let's talk about the final play specifically, and all of those. They didn't lose because of what happened in the final seconds, but they lost because they didn't come up with buckets in the final minutes of this game. Both of those things are true. It's not the only reason, but it's certainly a major reason. Let's talk about all of that to close in the second segment. But first, let me tell you about PrizePicks. It's daily fantasy made easy. How it works is you pick a entry between 2 and 6 players, whatever sport you want to play. I play PrizePicks. I think the app's super easy to use, and I play basketball. I play the NBA because that's what I'm comfortable with. But if you're an NHL person, if you're an NFL person, you can get in on those. And even if you want to, PrizePicks even lets you mix and match sports if you're really feeling lucky. But how it works is just be you versus the projection set by PrizePicks, more or less than the numbers they're picking. So for me, it's things like points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks. PrizePicks sets the line. You say more or less. You're not playing the field. You're not playing sharks. You're not playing against anything but you versus the numbers. And when you win, if you go 6 for 6 on a PrizePicks entry, you can win 25 times your money. So go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code LockedOnNBA to get in on it. Plus, new users, first deposit match up to $100. So you go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Use that promo code LockedOnNBA. They'll match you dollar for dollar on your first deposit up to $100. Sounds like a good deal. Why not go have some fun? It's PrizePicks, daily fantasy made easy. All right. So the final minute 45 was so chaotic. An anonymous friend of mine texted me during this stretch and said, I can't believe one of these teams gets to walk out of here with a win because it's just outrageous. Kyle Kuzma missing a free throw and then getting his rebound and missing another free throw. It's a chance for an easy 3-point play, but splits them just like 4 free throws and gets 2 out of it. But that's after DA misses those layups. It's after Jeremy Grant misses a free throw, after Amre Simon misses a layup. It's just the Wizards had this game up 14 with 6.5 left, up 13 at the 6-minute mark. A lot of teams play prevent offense. It's pretty common in the league. I think the Blazers almost did it against the Suns, where you just kind of slow down. You say, okay, we have 3 minutes left. We're just going to go slow. The Wizards didn't really do that. They just started missing jumpers, right? They just couldn't. The Blazers played a little more aggressively and started missing shots. It wasn't like they were going full prevent offense, but like they just left the door so wide open. They propped the screen door open. They opened the big front door. They left the pie on the windowsill with the window open. They invited you in. They left their keys in the lock. And the Blazers wouldn't take it. They wouldn't take it. And what it comes down to in one possession game, the one possession games are a coin flip, right? That's the nature of it. The things you do to get yourself in a one possession game, they matter, right? The first 47 minutes and 55 seconds matter. But when you get down to a 1-point game with 5 seconds left, it's just going to be like it's a coin flip or maybe a little bit worse depending on the situation, right? But all of the things that went into those final 6 seconds got the Blazers in a bad spot, made them have to scramble, made them have to, the missed free throws, and then the whole first 3 quarters when they played like crap, like all of that went into this, right? Like I don't mean to reduce this to the final 6 seconds, but the final 6 seconds are really confusing. They're confusing. In the fourth quarter, to erase a 14-point deficit, Amre Simon scored 22 points on 8 of 13 shooting. In the second half, to bring the Blazers back from a double-digit deficit, a game that they never had a lead in, a wire-to-wire loss to the Wizards, he had 29 on 10 of 18 shooting. He didn't shoot great in the first quarter. Started missing his threes, missed his threes and made his twos. But he got 29 after halftime. And he doesn't get a touch with 6 seconds left. I've joked on here. It's not even a joke. I like mostly believe this, but I've said it a bunch. If you're a longtime listener and every day, or I'm sure you've heard me say this, that when the game starts, coaches don't do anything but decide who plays and when. It's mostly a regular season joke. I think it's a little bit different in higher leverage games, but like during the NBA regular season, it's so long. You play so many times a week. Once the ball, you do some prep beforehand, but once the ball tips off, all you do is decide who plays and when. But the other, the part of that isn't a joke is because you only get to call 5 plays a game, right? You only get to call five plays out of timeouts a game, maybe 4, depending on if you have the ball or not. It's like you call four true plays. You can whistle stuff from the bench, but players play. They might not execute it. Players play. It's but you just don't get that many opportunities to put your imprint on the game. I really do believe that. I think. Maybe some people misrepresent my feelings on how much coaches impact the game. They certainly have an impact, but you just don't have that many chances to put a stamp on it. But when you call a timeout with 6 seconds left in a 1-point game, that's a stamp. That's a stamp. That's a chance for a coach to put his imprint on the game. He doesn't get to decide if the shot goes in. He doesn't even get to decide if the play is executed correctly, as we'll talk about here in momentarily. But you get to decide what happens. And with 5.8 seconds left, I don't think you want to pass the ball a whole lot. I think a lot of times, and I see this from fans and hear this from fans. It's you get to the final, why didn't they run a play where it was a bunch of movement and action, all this stuff? I don't think you want to run elaborate sets where the ball has to ping around 4 times and you're going to set something up perfect. You might not have time for it. It relies on just the timing of multiple bodies. Factually, the more you pass the ball, the more you turn it over in the NBA. It's almost always true. The teams that pass the most turn the ball over the most. Teams that play ISO heavy ball usually are low turnover teams. It's maybe not very aesthetically pleasing, but at least you're going to get a bad shot every time down the floor. A difficult shot, I should say, every time down the floor. So in the 6 seconds left in a game, I think you kind of just want to pass the ball to someone and say, go. I really do. Because if you are going to pass, it's going to be once, right? And you want the read to be quick, and you want it to be, I'm either going to pass or I'm going to fake the pass and I'm going to attack. Because you need to get a shot off. That's the most important thing with 6 seconds left. You need to get a makeable shot off. So it lends itself to an ISO. It lends itself to a jump shot. It lends itself to probably shooting far away from the rim, because getting all the way into the teeth with 6 seconds left of the defense is going to be challenging. It lends itself to Amre Simon. I do not know why he didn't touch the ball there. I do, though. I do know. I mentioned in my recap that it looked the play that they ran with 15 seconds left, or under 10 seconds left, but Amre Simon's made a layup to cut it to 1 with 7.6 left, set up the Matisse Thybulle steal, jump ball, Blazers get it back, right? They've run this a couple times. They ran this before last week. I think it was earlier this week, I think it was against the Warriors, where they run 4 across at the 3-point line, and Amre Simon starts in the backcourt. They throw the ball into the middle of the floor, and then they pitch it back to Ant, and they kind of just clear out the right side and let him go. It's exactly what they ran, the exact same thing against the Wizards and got a bucket. They ran the similar play against the exact same play, for my money, against the Warriors. This has been a Chauncey go-to this week. And it looked like they were trying to set that up. Except and I know, and that means Chauncey Billups knows that Jeremy Grant doesn't pass that much. He's in the league to score. He's on the roster to score. He's not a playmaker and a facilitator. One of the hard parts about this Blazers team is that they don't have a hub to throw the ball to and kind of like play off a creative passer. They just don't have that player on the roster. And Jeremy Grant's not going to change his stripes at this point. He's someone who shoots and takes hard shots in isolation. So when you're throwing it to him with 6 seconds left and he has to make a quick play to Ant, a quick decision to get the ball to Ant, it's got to come really fast. And Anthony Simons didn't attack really fast. He kind of hung back and said, "Okay, I'll wait, and then I'll come and get the ball." But he doesn't come and get the ball right away. It's not bang bang. It's like bang, and then Ant isn't. He's still kind of working his way there because you're going to be physical at the end of games, and the clock ticks fast in your head. So when you get the ball, 5.5, 4.5, 3.5, like it's fast. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fast. So Jeremy Grant's not going to wait. He's not going to be patient. He's going to attack. So when you throw the ball into him, and when the play is designed to throw it into him and get it back to Ant, he's going to attack. And Chauncey Billups, when he was asked about this after the game, said as much, that the play is designed to throw it into Jeremy Grant, get it back to Anthony Simons with that right side cleared out, and let him go. But it's an option for JG. It's an option for Jeremy. If it's there, you pitch it back to Ant. If not, you go. Like that's, you're getting your two best offensive players an option there. I get the logic. Like I understand the sort of basic logic. I don't get the play call. Throw the ball into Anthony Simons at midcourt, let him walk someone down and take a jump shot, live or die by it. You don't really have time to run an elaborate play. You don't want to set a screen because you don't want to bring an extra defender. This is under 6 seconds, down 1, get the ball in your best player's hands and let him cook. This is the time to let him cook. Anthony Simons has 29 in the second half. Let him go. Let him go. I think Billups had a tough week in terms of just late game coaching stuff. And I think I'm always curious about what fans think is coaching and what fans think is players. I think it tends to be when things go wrong, it's the coach's fault. It's like basically what I've gleaned from doing this. It's not Chauncey Billups' fault that Jeremy Grant missed it. It's not even Chauncey Billups' fault that Jeremy Grant took that difficult shot. It's Billups' fault for not letting Anthony Simons take a difficult shot. You don't get to choose what happens, but you do get to choose the shape of it. You got to put an imprint on it. Might still lose, but it just seems like a bad idea. It seemed like it was bad execution by Jeremy Grant and a bad play call by the coach. Like I said, the first 47 minutes and 55 seconds matter. I don't think the Blazers lost this game in the final 5 seconds, although they definitely failed to win it there at the end. They're the worst first quarter team in the NBA. It's a real problem. Let's talk about the numbers and why I think they lost this game in the opening 12 minutes, not the final 2. That's what we'll do to close the show. But first, I want to tell you that today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. If you're thinking about giving therapy a try, why not give BetterHelp a try? It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient and flexible and fit your schedule. Therapy can be incredibly helpful if you are experiencing an acute trauma. If you have a traumatic event that you want to work through, talking with a therapist regularly can help you develop the tools to kind of find out how to get to what is next for you. It is a solution to give you tools. It is an opportunity to teach you how to work with yourself to be the best version of yourself. But you don't have to wait for an acute traumatic event to do that. You can just use therapy as routine maintenance for your body and your brain and your spirit. So if you think therapy might be a solution for you or an opportunity for you to develop those tools, why not check out BetterHelp? You got to just fill out a brief questionnaire. You'll get matched with a therapist, and then you can switch anytime with no additional charge. If that therapist is working out with you, they'll find you one that will. It's the season of giving, so give yourself what you need with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Still a pass first point guard. I'm still Mike Richmond, and you are still listening to Locked On Blazers. Final 5 seconds of the game was weird. It was a mistake by the coach, and it was bad execution by the players. 0 for 2. But the Blazers have a habit of starting slow and putting themselves in a position where they have to scramble. You know what they should have done against the Wizards? Take control of the game in the first half, so it's not a thing in the final minute 45 that you need 2 Kyle Kuzma missed free throws, a Wizards turnover with 7 seconds left, and then you still screw it up. The Blazers, over their last 6 games, have trailed by 16 to the Clippers, 10 to the Jazz, 8 to the Warriors, 16 to Phoenix, and 16 to the Wizards in the first quarter. They also had down 2 to Dallas. They actually led that game by 8, so they were in the first quarter. 4 of their last 7 games, they've trailed by double digits in the first quarter. And then in the game that they trailed by Golden State by 8, they shot 36%, including under 30% from 3. Against Phoenix, Chauncey Billups had said he'd harped to his team about starting better. We're going to start better. We're going to be the team that is proactive, not reactive. We're going to be the team that throws the first punch. We're going to be the team that sets the tone. And they came out and they played terrible against Phoenix in the first quarter, trailed by 16, clawed their way back and got a nice win. Coming off that game, okay, you know what? If Billups is saying to us, like us, the media, the assembled media, like that we got to start better. And he says that pregame and he says that postgame, we got to start better. You better believe that message has been delivered to his team loud and clear. It's not a secret. It's something they probably talk about all of the time. They come out against the Wizards and go down by 16 again and are down 10 when he has to take a first time out. And it's just like, they dig themselves a hole and then you have to scramble out of that hole. And why I mentioned the sort of like, what's the coach's fault and what is it? It's like, I think a lot of people say like that start is on Chauncey. And I don't think I agree with that. I don't. I know I don't agree with that because the Blazers play hard in the closing other quarters. They played hard in the final 7 minutes of this game. They play hard, throughout this year. They have mostly found themselves in games because they fall behind, claw themselves back, don't give up, and stay in games. Does Chauncey Billups get credit for them falling behind, or does he get credit for them continuing to play hard throughout the game? Like, what do we do? To me, the slow start is on the players. It's on the players. Someone has to take charge. They need what the Blazers, and I've mentioned this in the show before, is like, they're missing sort of that emotional core on this team. They're missing that emotional core, someone who kind of really sets the tone. You'll hear like Toumani Camara gets credit for setting the tone. Toumani Camara is an extremely negative player on offense. He can't really set the tone by scoring, right? Like he plays hard, but he's not like a high skill guy. You kind of need one of your best players, Jeremy Grant or Amre Simon, to grab the reins and say, here we go, come on. And they're just not wired that way. They might be great, well respected and sort of those leading by example type guys, but they don't have that emotional core. That's the guy who says, let's bleeping go, follow me, get on my back, and I'm going to make sure that we are not down 16 to the Wizards, right? I'm going to make sure we start better. Because the coach can say it a million times if he said it to the media. How many times has he said it to his team? They know the deal and they still play this way. And when I say the Blazers are the worst first quarter team in the league, I mean it. According to NBA.com, the Blazers' first quarter net rating is minus 17.4, far and away the worst in the league. The next worst team in terms of starts, the 2-26 Detroit Pistons. Historic losing streak, Detroit Pistons. Not great, Bob. Their net rating, minus 15.1. Blazers are significantly worse. And net rating is the difference in points scored versus points allowed, normalized for 100 possessions. So on a 100 possession basis, getting outscored by 17.4 points per game, if it was to play out the way they play in the first quarter, every night they come out flat. Certainly, there is an element of what is the coach doing here? Like, it's like, how is this a thing, right? How is this a thing? How do they play? How does this always happen? But at some point, someone on the team who's in the game has to take responsibility for it, has to get insulted by the fact that every single night they say, here we go, y'all, let's go oh, dang it, we're down 10 to the freaking Wizards. Let's take a timeout. Oh, we're down 16 now. All right, let's play really hard after this. I don't think the Blazers had a million chances in the final minute 45 despite all of this. But the best thing you can do is avoid the chaos of that final minute 45 by not digging a hole and hear me out here, just dominating a first quarter. Coming out at home when you're favored against a team that is 4-21 coming in and just dominating the first quarter, playing really well. You can't really, you can control taking good shots so you don't miss them, but it's like every time it's missed some shots to begin the game, but they also just play flat. Where is the sharpness of an execution? Where is the certainty of what we want to get into? Okay, here's what we're going to do. DA is going to get the first couple touches, and then we're going to really attack. We're going to get Jeremy Grant to his spots. We're going to get Amre Simon to his spots. We're going to run. We're going to spread them out and find Malcolm Brogdon in the corner. We're going to work that. If they double team Amre Simons, Tumani's going to work the wing and get an easy lob on a 4-on-3 situation. Instead, it seems like they feel out the game as if they are a better team. They don't play with desperation, and then they do play with desperation. They're pretty competitive. I don't know that this changes. I kind of think, it wouldn't surprise me if the Blazers come out against the Warriors on Saturday night and they play with their pants on fire in the first quarter and then find a way to lose down the stretch, right? Because they're not very good. But we're 27 games into this thing, and they are one of the worst offensive teams they're bottom 3 in offense in the first quarter, and they're bottom 2 in defense in the first quarter, and they have the worst net rating in the league. Their offense stinks, and their defense stinks pretty much every game to start. And then they dig out of a hole from there. I think that they are capable of being a lot more enjoyable than they were against the Wizards, but this was a new low point for them in the season. So it wasn't their worst loss of the season. I think the worst loss is still that game against Utah where they just got waxed at home as favorites. But this was a new low point because that's how linear time works. It includes that other ugly one. Every time this can play, Jeremy Grant can score. They aren't so helpless as to lose home games to the Wizards unless you decide that you are going to punt the first 9 minutes of every game. I put that on the players. Certainly there's an element of coaching in that. I totally recognize that, but I put that on players first and foremost. They've got to be the ones to set the tone. And it'll be an interesting test for them. They play Saturday and then got some time off, and then they don't play again until Tuesday. Like Warriors and the Kings, and they come back for a couple of games against the Spurs before they head out on a road trip. They are... they have two challenging ones coming up against good teams, Golden State and Sacramento. They don't necessarily need to win. I don't care about the wins and losses. It's just is the process there? Are they doing things the right way and building towards stuff? I think they took a step backwards against the Wizards, and that's the frustrating part. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Blazers play Saturday evening. That's December 23rd. I'm going to record a podcast at some point, maybe late that night, maybe on Christmas Eve, some point. But there will be a podcast in your feed on Christmas talking about that Warriors game. I am not going to record a podcast on Christmas Day. So the 26th will be a no Locked On Blazers day in your calendars, but then we'll get right back to it. So 4 shows next week. 4 shows next week. Look forward to it. Enjoy it. All of that stuff. Enjoy time with family. If you're someone who celebrates Christmas, I hope you get to enjoy it. And if someone doesn't celebrate Christmas, I hope you get time off from your job, because that's the real value of it here too, is not having to work. But check your feeds Christmas morning or some Christmas, the afternoon of Christmas Eve. Come back, rock with me on December 27th when we'll have a show recapping that Kings game. That's what we do nearly every dang day of the week. Tell your friends about the podcast. I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you soon.